There is a quiet stage in life, a shadowed corridor where most give up, but where the few on the edge of transformation stand. We are drawn to this moment not by comfort, but by discomfort, not by ease, but by the relentless pressure that tests our mind, our will, and our soul. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." Sign 1. The fire of internal resistance becomes fuel, not fear. At the threshold of transformation, life intensifies. Obstacles that once seemed minor begin to feel overwhelming. Criticism pierces deeper. Failures sting sharper. The world appears harsher, as if testing our very resolve. This is no accident. As Seneca once observed, difficulties strengthen the mind as labor does the body. The universe does not create resistance to punish. It does so to reveal those capable of enduring, capable of mastery. And now, in these final moments before your breakthrough, you feel the weight of everything pressing against you. The difference is subtle but unmistakable. What once triggered panic, despair, or anger now ignites something else entirely. This is the moment we begin to understand the Stoic truth. The fire of resistance is not meant to destroy us, it is meant to forge us. Every tension, every moment of frustration, every internal struggle is a hammer striking the steel of our character. We begin to see that fear, anger, and impatience are not enemies to eradicate, but energies to transform. Whereas before, resistance scattered our focus, now it becomes fuel. Each obstacle sharpens our vision. Each criticism refines our self-control. Each failure strengthens our fortitude. We realize that the world does not need to be tamed, people do not need to change, and circumstances do not need to be perfect. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. The breakthrough does not come from bending life to our will. It comes from mastering our reaction to it. It comes from harnessing the storm rather than fleeing it, from converting pain into insight, chaos into calm, and pressure into precision. At this stage, we become intimately familiar with the truth of solitude, not as loneliness, but as clarity. While others run from discomfort, we walk into it deliberately, knowing that this crucible is where our strength is tempered. We observe the mind's habitual reactions, the urge to lash out, to complain, to surrender, and we refuse them. We feel the fire, we acknowledge it, and we redirect it toward growth. Resistance is no longer a wall. Resistance is now the ladder. Here, the concept of control reaches its deepest form. We understand that we cannot control what people think, how events unfold, or whether outcomes match our expectations, but we can control our discipline, our focus, our composure. This awareness is terrifying for those unprepared, yet exhilarating for those who have endured. Epictetus wrote, "No great thing is created suddenly, any more than a bunch of grapes or a fig. If you tell me that you desire a fig, I answer you that there must be time. Let it first blossom, then bear fruit, then ripen." We recognize that our breakthrough, like the ripening fig, has its own timing. Our task is not to rush it, but to perfect ourselves in preparation. This preparation manifests as a quiet, almost invisible transformation. Outwardly, life seems unchanged. The pressure persists, challenges remain, yet internally we are different. Our patience grows, our judgment sharpens, our impulses, once reactive and destructive, now align with purpose and strategy. Others may still doubt us, ridicule us, or underestimate our potential, but that no longer matters. We know the truth. Strength unseen is strength undeniable. In this stage, we learn another brutal Stoic lesson, that breakthrough often arrives not as a spectacle, but as subtle alignment. Opportunities do not knock with banners, they appear quietly, almost invisibly to the prepared mind. Connections form, circumstances shift, and outcomes unfold not because we forced them, but because we stopped resisting the natural flow and instead mastered ourselves. Life responds to mastery, not to desperation. And yet, mastery is not passive. It requires relentless vigilance. Each day, each hour, each thought must be refined. We train our minds to anticipate distraction without attachment, to endure insult without anger, and to act decisively without expectation. This is why only a few reach the final stage before a breakthrough. Most abandon the journey when the fire burns too hot, when resistance feels too cruel, when solitude seems unbearable. But those who endure, those who convert internal fire into discipline, stand ready for the moment life shifts. Ultimately, this stage teaches a final, dark truth. The breakthrough is never a gift. It is the consequence of relentless, unflinching preparation. The mind that has endured, that has harnessed resistance rather than feared it, becomes irresistible to opportunity. Life begins to move in our favor because we have become aligned with virtue, clarity, and unshakable resolve. In the final stage, we are no longer defined by circumstances or by the opinions of others. We are defined by our mastery of self. So if you feel the fire of resistance, if you notice your mind no longer bends to fear, anger, or despair, understand this: you are not broken. You are being forged. You are at the edge of transformation. Stand firm. Endure the fire. Let life test you, because the breakthrough waits only for those who have mastered the storm within.
Sign 2. The calm emerges in the eye of the storm. When we approach the final stage before a breakthrough, life does not slow down. In fact, it intensifies. Chaos surrounds us. People speak with hidden agendas. Obstacles appear without warning, and disappointment seems to lurk at every corner. The world, in its relentless testing, seeks to expose the weak. And yet, within this storm, something remarkable begins to happen. We no longer react as we once did. Seneca once observed, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it." In this stage, we stop wasting our energy on anger, resentment, or despair. We begin to recognize that everything external, every insult, every failure, every unexpected turn is neutral. It is our response that gives it weight. Those who break under pressure are controlled by circumstance. Those on the edge of transformation control themselves. They become unshakable, not because the storm has ceased, but because the storm now passes through them without leaving a mark. This calm is not born overnight. It is forged through repeated confrontation with life's challenges. We have stared into the abyss of failure and returned. We have endured betrayal and walked away without bitterness. We have faced disappointment and continued forward with unwavering resolve. Every time the mind chooses composure over chaos, resilience over reaction, it grows stronger, like tempered steel bent in the fire but never broken. What distinguishes this stage is subtle yet unmistakable. We no longer chase validation from others. We no longer clutch at fleeting pleasures or fear potential pain. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." This is no abstract lesson. It is the reality that emerges when we step closer to the breakthrough. Our focus shifts inward. The mind becomes our sanctuary. The soul becomes our fortress. In this state, the external world may still rage and crumble around us, yet we remain centered. We act decisively, with clarity and precision, not because circumstances are favorable, but because we have mastered ourselves. Anger, fear, and anxiety, once our constant companions, now serve as signals, guiding us to act with wisdom rather than impulsively. Resistance has been transformed into discipline. The storm teaches, and we learn. Another sign emerges quietly, the awareness of timing. We begin to understand that nothing in life unfolds according to our desires, but everything unfolds according to preparation and alignment. Epictetus reminds us, first say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. The breakthrough does not come as a result of frantic effort or manipulation of circumstances. It comes because we have become ready. The calm, the clarity, and the strength we cultivate within attract the right opportunities at the precise moment. Life responds not to desperation, but to the disciplined mind. This stage also carries a dark lesson about human nature. As we grow stronger, we see clearly who is genuine and who is deceptive, who elevates and who drains. The world is filled with those who will try to distract, mislead, or manipulate us. But in this calm, we no longer react, we observe. We act when necessary, but without attachment to others' opinions or actions. This is the quiet, almost invisible power of the one who has reached the final stage before transformation. And so, the breakthrough is not heralded by fireworks or dramatic shifts. It is revealed in subtle, almost imperceptible ways. Decisions that once seemed impossible become clear. Actions that once caused hesitation are executed with certainty. Our presence commands attention not through loud assertion, but through the gravity of composed mastery. The calm we cultivate attracts life itself, bending circumstances, people, and opportunities toward alignment. We realize that the ultimate test was never external. It was always internal. The breakthrough awaits those who endure the storm without losing themselves, who act with precision while the world descends into chaos, who master their minds when everything else seems uncontrollable. This is the final stage, the eye of the storm, where clarity emerges, where discipline transforms resistance into power, and where the soul becomes untouchable. So, if you feel the storm intensifying, if you notice a growing calm within the chaos, understand this: you are standing on the threshold. The breakthrough is near. Life will still test you, people will still deceive, and obstacles will still rise, but none of it can reach you, because in the eye of the storm, you have found the stillness, the strength, and the clarity that make you unbreakable.
Sign 3. You no longer seek approval, you create it within. At the final stage before a breakthrough, something profound happens. The need for external validation begins to fade. The opinions of others, once capable of lifting us or shattering us, no longer hold power. We realize that the respect we crave, the admiration we chase, the approval we desperately seek, these are not found in the world outside, but within ourselves. Marcus Aurelius observed, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." In this stage, we internalize this principle so deeply that our integrity, our composure, and our discipline become self-sufficient. Before reaching this point, every achievement, every word spoken, every decision made was tinged with anxiety about how it would be perceived. Every failure carried the weight of imagined judgment. Every success felt hollow without recognition. The breakthrough stage shifts this perspective entirely. Now we recognize that life will always have critics, that the ignorant will always speak, and that appearances are deceiving. To rely on the world's approval is to surrender our freedom. The Stoics call this autarkia, self-sufficiency. We become immune to the pendulum of praise and blame. This stage is not arrogance, it is a quiet, unshakable strength. Epictetus teaches, it's not what happens to you,
but how you react to it that matters. When we stop measuring ourselves against the standards of others, our actions are dictated not by fear or desire for approval, but by principle and reason. The breakthrough is not earned through manipulation, flattery, or empty charm. It is earned through consistent mastery of self. Each decision aligns with virtue, each reaction reflects composure, and each action demonstrates the quiet power of a mind at peace with itself. At this stage, we also notice a subtle change in relationships. People begin to respond differently, not because we demand it, but because our internal strength radiates outward. The approval we no longer seek is drawn to us naturally. We speak less, act deliberately, and allow silence to communicate volumes. Those who once overlooked us now notice, not because we demanded attention, but because we became grounded in a presence that cannot be ignored. The Stoic lesson is clear. Attractiveness, influence, and respect are consequences of mastery, not tools to acquire them. Life itself tests this mastery relentlessly. Temptations to conform, to compromise, to curry favor still arise. People attempt to sway our decisions with flattery, criticism, or intimidation. But at this stage, we recognize these tactics for what they are: attempts to manipulate an untrained mind. We respond with calm observation, not reaction. Anger, resentment, and frustration are neutralized before they take hold. As Seneca wisely noted, it is the power of the mind to be unconquerable. We experience this unconquerable power firsthand, the ability to remain centered while chaos swirls around us, to act with clarity while others react with impulsivity. The internal creation of approval also brings clarity to our purpose. We stop chasing illusions and distractions. Goals become aligned not with the desires of the crowd, but with the pursuit of virtue, discipline, and excellence. This focus intensifies our actions, sharpens our judgment, and accelerates the approach of the breakthrough. Life does not bend to our will, but it begins to align with the prepared, self-sufficient mind. The chaos outside becomes a mirror reflecting the order and strength we have cultivated within. Finally, the stage teaches a crucial truth about human nature. Those who seek validation are easily swayed, fragile, and dependent. Those who cultivate self-approval are untouchable, anchored in their own reason and integrity. The breakthrough arrives not to the loudest, not to the most persuasive, but to the one who has mastered the storm inside and no longer relies on the noise of the world to define them. So if you feel the pull of external approval fading, if you notice a growing confidence in your own judgment, understand this: you are at the threshold. The breakthrough is near. Life may still test you, opportunities may still be hidden, and people may still misunderstand your actions, but none of it can shake you. For in this final stage, you have found within yourself the approval, the authority, and the power that no one outside can grant or take away.
Sign 4. You feel an unshakable clarity amidst uncertainty. At the final stage before a breakthrough, the world may feel as unpredictable as ever. Chaotic markets, shifting relationships, and unforeseen obstacles. But inside, a remarkable clarity emerges. We see paths that once seemed obscured, decisions that once felt impossible, now present themselves with unmistakable lucidity. Life's noise no longer confuses us. Instead, it sharpens our focus. Marcus Aurelius warned, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." At this stage, we no longer see obstacles as hindrances. They are guides. They illuminate the necessary steps we must take, revealing the breakthrough hidden behind struggle. Before reaching this stage, uncertainty was paralyzing. Doubts clouded judgment. Fear dictated decisions. We measured risks endlessly, questioning every impulse. But after countless trials, failures, and moments of introspection, the mind adapts. We have learned to distinguish the essential from the trivial, the fleeting from the eternal. Our decisions are no longer reactions to external pressures, but expressions of inner wisdom. As Epictetus reminds us, it's not what happens to you, but how you respond to it that matters. In this clarity, we respond deliberately, choosing actions aligned with purpose rather than emotion. This stage carries a deep, almost ominous sense of self-awareness. We recognize the limits of others, the superficiality of many interactions, and the illusions that once distracted us. Yet, instead of bitterness or cynicism, we feel a serene understanding. Life unfolds according to patterns and principles, and those who learn to read them gain a decisive advantage. Clarity emerges because we have trained our minds to observe without attachment, to measure without judgment, and to act without hesitation. The breakthrough is not a sudden event, it is the inevitable result of this disciplined perception. We also notice that the mind becomes intensely selective. Noise that once distracted us, gossip, envy, unnecessary drama, loses all relevance. We engage only with what contributes to growth, only with what aligns with reason and virtue. Stoic philosophers spoke often of this discernment. Seneca said, "Associate with those who will make a better man of you." At this stage, we extend this principle inward. We guard our own minds, allowing clarity to flourish untainted by external confusion. The breakthrough arrives to those who can perceive what others overlook, who act decisively when chaos reigns, and who move with precision in a world of uncertainty. Another element of this stage is emotional regulation. Fear, anger, and desire no longer dominate our judgment. They become signals, tools for insight, rather than triggers for reaction. We act from reason, not impulse. When others are overwhelmed, we are steady. When circumstances turn unpredictable, we adapt fluidly. This is the quiet power of clarity, the ability to remain composed, to see the truth of the situation, and to act decisively. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This is no abstraction. It is a lived reality at the final stage before a breakthrough. Clarity also brings a subtle yet profound courage. We understand that failure, disappointment, and misunderstanding are inevitable parts of life. They no longer intimidate us because we see them as temporary conditions, not definitions of self. We move forward with unwavering focus because we are anchored internally. Life may still test us, but the mind, trained in observation and reflection, becomes a fortress. Finally, the breakthrough manifests quietly. It is not announced with fanfare or chaos. It is revealed through precision, timing, and alignment. The world outside remains unpredictable, but within, we have found the unshakable center. This clarity allows us to seize opportunity, make strategic choices, and execute actions that others cannot comprehend. The storm rages, but we are the eye, calm, focused, and unstoppable. So, if you feel an emerging sense of calm insight amidst confusion, if decisions that once seemed impossible now present themselves clearly, understand this: you are standing at the edge of transformation. The breakthrough is near. Life's chaos cannot reach you because you have cultivated the mind of unwavering clarity, seeing the path that few will ever perceive.
If this message spoke to you, if something in you awakened, then don't let it fade. Subscribe, join this path of inner strength, and let's keep walking this road together. Not toward comfort, but toward mastery. Because in the end, it's not about escaping the fire. It's about becoming it.